Secretary Janet Yellen, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
We're going to get to your meeting and your trip and your speech in Africa in a moment. But first, I want to ask you about something else really top of your mind, and that is the debt ceiling. You informed Congress that the debt ceiling has been reached and that you have to employ extraordinary measures to keep the whole thing going. How long can you do that for? What kind of extraordinary measures?
Well, extraordinary measures involve things like the Civil Service Trust Fund and investments that we make in government securities for employees in the government-funded programs. And I indicated in my letter to Congress that we feel confident they can last until early June. But beyond that, there's no guarantee. The actual date at which we would no longer be able to use these measures is quite uncertain, but it could conceivably come as early June.
Okay, so I want to just quote that letter that you are referring to just a little bit. Failure to meet the government's obligations would cause irreparable harm to the United States economy, the livelihoods of all Americans, and global financial stability. So, in brief, what kind of irreparable harm, and particularly for American households, how would average American households experience this?
The United States is a country that since 1789 has always paid all of its bills. And the knowledge that the U.S. government can be trusted and counted on to do that underlies the foundations, really, of the entire global financial system. U.S. Treasury securities are the safest investment on the planet, and we would certainly experience, at a minimum, a downgrading of our debt. If that happened, our borrowing costs would increase, and every American would see that their borrowing costs would increase as well. On top of that, a failure to make payments that are due, whether it's to bondholders or to Social Security recipients or to our military, would undoubtedly cause a recession in the U.S. economy and could cause a global financial crisis. It would certainly undermine the role of the dollar as a reserve currency that is used in transactions all over the world. And many people would lose their jobs, and certainly their borrowing costs would rise.
Gosh, I mean, to me, and I'm a layperson when it comes to the economy, that sounds like an unmitigated disaster. You believe, you just told me, that you think some resolution can be found. The Senate Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, also believes that some resolution can be found, but you do have what some have termed the flamethrowers on the extreme wing of the Republican Party, particularly in the House, and they are sticking quite firmly to what they say they've promised the people. They claim they have a mandate to get control of reckless spending. Do you believe that that's what's happening here, that there is reckless spending, that unless somehow you get that under control, this disaster that you've just outlined will unfold?
The debt ceiling is about making sure that we can pay our bills that we have already incurred for spending that has been authorized by Congress. So it's not about seeking the right to engage in additional spending. It is simply about paying bills Congress has already authorized. And Congresses in the past have always acted to raise the debt ceiling to make sure that we can pay our bills. This is something we can't negotiate over or bargain about. America has to be a reliable borrower that pays all the bills that come due on time. And Congress needs to find a way to get this done, and always has in the past.
Indeed, always has in the past. You mentioned the horrible word recession, that would ensure that there was a recession if you failed to pay those bills. And it happens right in the middle of a global issue, a global sort of, recessionary sort of status. You have just been meeting in Switzerland, not in Davos, with the Chinese vice premier. What significant did you achieve with your talks?
Well, first of all, it's important that the world's two largest economies be in regular communication about their own macroeconomic policies, the progress of their economies, and the problems that the global economy and financial system face. And this was our first in-person meeting. President Biden met with President Xi, and it was agreed that these are matters we need to discuss on a regular basis, people at all levels of our government. And so we talked about these things. In addition, the world's two most important economies have a responsibility to cooperate on issues that are of global significance. And I'm thinking here of climate change, preparing for future pandemics. Russia's brutal and unprovoked war against Ukraine has led to an increase in hunger, food insecurity all around the globe. We need to discuss how to address this problem, the problem of very high energy prices and, in many cases, unsustainable debt for low-income countries that are coming out of the pandemic, now face very weak global conditions, see depreciating currencies. So these are things we need to cooperate on. We have shared interests. We discussed our cooperation and the need to work together to address global challenges.
Just very briefly, you say we discussed. Do you see light at the end of this tunnel? Do they seem willing?
Yes, they do seem willing. This is something that President Biden and President Xi agreed on in their meeting and asked their colleagues and staff to follow up on. And I see definite good prospects for cooperation on these matters.
So let me ask you then about your trip to Africa. We're talking to you from Senegal, and you have been, you gave a big speech and you said that America is in partnership and wants to be in Africa, not transactionally, not for the short haul, but for the long haul. And in that speech, you said a few things. One of them is countries need to be wary of shiny deals that may be opaque and ultimately fail to actually benefit the people they were purportedly designed to help in the first place. This can leave countries with a legacy of debt, diverted resources, and environmental destruction. I wonder, because that sounds very much a message to African nations about the incredible amount of trade they do with China, the incredible amount of investment that China has done, far outstripping what the United States has done, at least for the last 10 plus years. Is that what you were trying to tell African countries?
Well, it's true that Africa has borrowed a lot from China for infrastructure projects, and that there has been a lot of debt incurred in the process. And a problem with that is that in some cases, the projects involved environmental destruction or left the countries with unsustainable debt burdens. And now, with a weak global economy and high debt, many countries in Africa and low-income countries around the world are dealing with debt burdens that they simply can't manage. And, the United States wants to be there. My trip, as you said, is about many years to come. We see what's happening in Africa. Africa is really crucial to the longer-term global outlook. This is a continent that's population is growing very rapidly. It's a very young population, and it has the potential to contribute to growth throughout the global economy. Not managed properly, it could be a source of problems. We want to make sure that investments are high quality, that they lead to, in the case of energy, that there are sustainable investments. In the case of agriculture, we see countries that need more resilient agriculture systems, especially with climate change taking a toll on many countries in Africa over the medium term. We see huge opportunities for American business here. So encouraging trade and investment between the United States and Africa is something that's a win-win both for the United States and also for Africa. And we want to be there and understand what we need to do to facilitate this growth and trade.